This is the EdExcel GCSE 91 Maths Foundation Paper 1 from the Specimen Set 2 papers, and this paper is a non-calculator paper. Question number 1, we have to find 10% of £320. Well, if we find 10% of something, that would mean we have to divide by 10. So, we've got 320, and if I divide this by 10, it turns out we would get 32. So we have £32. Question number 2, we have to write 0.8 as a percentage. Well, if we were to convert a decimal to a percentage, we would have to multiply by 100. So 0.8 multiplied by 100 would give us 80. 0.8 is the same as 80%. Question number 3. For part A, we have to work out 84 divided by 3. This is equal to 28. For part B, we have to work out 0.17 times 6,000. Well, what we have is 0.17, which is being multiplied by 6,000. And what this calculation is the same as is 17 over 100 multiplied by 6,000. Now 6,000 divided by 100, that is equal to 60, and so 17 times 60 is equal to 1020. Then for part C, we have to work out -2 all cubed. Well, what this is the same as is -2 times -2 times -2. -2 times -2 is 4. Timesing that by -2, we get -8. Question number 4. Here is a square-based pyramid. How many faces does the pyramid have? Well, we've got the one at the bottom plus the 4 at the side. We have 5 faces in total. Then, how many edges does the pyramid have? Well, let's just count. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 edges. Question number 5. For part A, we have to write down the coordinates of the point B. Well, B, we go 4 across and 5 up. So the coordinates of B, we would have 4, 5. Then for part B, we have to find the midpoint of AB. Well, here is A, here is B. What you will find is, from here to here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, and then 2 up. So for the midpoint, we would have to go. Question number 6. Here are the instructions for making a drink. we add 100 milliliters of juice to 2 liters of water. Dev uses 5 liters of water to make the drink. How much drink has he made? Well, we know so far the ratio of juice to water is 100 milliliters to 2 liters. So what we want is 5 liters of water. That's how much we have. So how much juice would we need? Well, what I need to do here is multiply by 2.5. And if I multiply by 2.5 on the other side, it turns out we would get 250 milliliters. So how much drink would we have in total? In total, we've got 250 milliliters plus 5 liters. So we've got 250 milliliters plus 5,000 milliliters, which is equal to 5,250 milliliters. We could have 5.25 liters also. Question number 7. In a box there are 3 types of chocolate, 6 plain, 8 milk and 10 white. Ben takes at random a chocolate from the box. You have to write down the probability that Ben takes a plain chocolate. Well, we've got 6 plus 8 plus 10. So what we have here is 24 chocolates in total. So the probability that we select a plain chocolate, out of 24 we have 6 which are plain, so the probability is 6 over 24, which would simplify to 1/4. So we've got 1/4. Next, Dion takes 2 chocolates from the box. We have to write down all the possible combinations of types of chocolate that Dion could take. Well, he could have a plain and then another plain. He could have plain and then milk, or plain and then white. Or he could have a milk and a plain, milk and a milk, milk and a white. Or he could have a white and a plain, a white and a milk and a white and another white. But this is the same as this. This is the same as this. And this is the same as this. So here are all the combinations. We could have a plain and a plain, milk and a plain, white and a plain, milk and a milk, white and a milk, and white and a white. Question number 8. 8 identical pens cost £12. We have to work out the cost of 10 of these pens. So we have 8 pens, which would cost £12. So 2 pens, that will equal, well, what I need to do here is divide by 4. So I would get 2 pence, which is equal to £3, and therefore 10 pence if I multiply by 5, we would get £15. Question number 9. Here are 5 fractions. One of these fractions is not equivalent to a quarter. We have to write down this fraction. Well, straight away I can spot that 5 is not a factor of 24, so this fraction cannot be simplified any further. So 5 over 24 is not equivalent to a quarter. For part B, we have to work out 2 over 7 plus a quarter. Well, what this is equal to, if I rewrite this 2/7 such that we've got a denominator of 14, then on the top I would need a 4. So I've got 4 over 14 plus 1 over 14 and it turns out what we end up with out of 14 is 4 plus 1, which is 5. So we have 5 out of 14. For part C, we have to work out 4/5 divided by 3/10. We have to give our answer in its simplest form. Well, what this is equal to, well, if I'm dividing fractions, I've got 4/5, I would have to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. So I've got 4/5 multiplied by 10 over 3. And this 5 cancels with this 10 twice. So what we are left with is the fraction 4 times by 2, which is 8. And then we've got the 3 on the bottom. We've got 8/3. So we have 8 over 3. Question number 10. For part A, we have to solve 3x plus 7 equals 1. Well, first thing we can do is subtract 7 from both sides, meaning 3x is equal to minus 6. And then if I divide both sides of this equation by 3, that would mean x is equal to minus 6 over 3, which is minus 2. For part B, we've got f, which is 6, and g, which is 5, and what we have to do is work out the value of 3f minus 2g. So we know that f is 6, we know that g is 5, so substituting these in, we've got 3 multiplied by 6 subtract 2 multiplied by 5. (18) subtract 10 is equal to 8. Question number 11, we have to write down 3 different multiples of 4 that add up to 40. Well, for the multiples of 4, we've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40, and then we could continue on. Now we want 3 numbers which add to give 40. Well, what I can do is add together the 4 and the 16, that will give 20, and then if I add on 20 to that I would get 40. So 4 plus 16 plus 20 is equal to 40, so these are the three possible numbers we could have: 4, 16 and 20. Question number 12. Helen has 80 books to sell. Each book is fiction or non-fiction. The ratio of the number of fiction books to the number of non-fiction books is 3 to 1. And each book has a normal price of £10. Helen reduces the price of all the non-fiction books. So for non-fiction books, all books are half price. And Helen sells all 80 books. We have to work out the total amount of money Helen will receive. Well, we've got this ratio of fiction to non-fiction being 3 to 1. And what we know from the question is there is a total of 80 books. Now I've got 4 parts altogether, so I can find out how much each part will be worth. 80 divided by 4 is 20. So each part will equal 20. So the total number of fiction books is equal to 60. Non-fiction books, we've got 20. Now we know that each book has a normal price of £10, but for non-fiction books, the books are slashed by half. So therefore, the price of non-fiction will equal half of the 10, which is £5. So the total amount of money she receives, well, I've got 60 fiction books, they cost £10 each. I've got 20 non-fiction, they cost £5 each. So in total, 600 plus 100 is 700. She would make £700. Question number 13. Ryan and Carl each get paid a basic pay of £60 per day. One day Ryan also gets a bonus of 25% for his basic pay. Carl also gets £20 in tips from customers. We have to work out the difference between the total amounts of money that Ryan and Carl each get. So Ryan gets a 25% bonus on his basic pay. So if we focus on Ryan, well, first of all, 25% of 60, that's a quarter of 16, that's 15. So we've got 60 plus the bonus of 15, which is equal to 75. And if we take a look at Carl gets paid £60 plus this extra £20 he gets from tips, so we have 18 total. And therefore the difference between 80 and 75 is 5, so we have £5. Question number 14. Some people were asked if they like swimming or cycling or running. The table shows the results for males and the results for females, and for part A on the grid, we have to draw a bar chart for this information. Well, we've got a maximum of 8, and we've got 3 categories: swimming, cycling and running. So let's create our scales as we see here. Now we need to create a key, so we've got females and males. Now for males who swim, we've got 2. Females who swim, we've got 8. Males who cycle, we've got 6. Females who cycle, we've got 5. Then for running, we've got 4 males and 5 females. And don't forget to add on the frequency label. Then for part B, we have to work out the percentage of the 30 people that are female. Well, how many females do we have? we've got 8 plus 5 plus 5, so that's 18. So we've got 18 females in total. So our percentage will be 18 out of 30 multiplied by 100. Now let's see if we can simplify this. 18 over 30, well, if I rewrite this denominator so it's out of 10, I need to divide the 18 by 3 to get 6 out of 10. And then I times this by 100, leaving me with 60%. Question number 15. The table shows information about the ages of all the people at a party. For party, we have to work out the total number of these people who were aged 40 or less. So what we have altogether is 6, 16 and 10 being added together. So therefore we've got over here people who are aged 40 or less. 6 plus 16 plus 10, which is equal to 32. Then Andy says that the range of ages is 39 because 50 take away 11 is 39. The range may not be 39, we have to explain why. Well, we've got group data, so we don't know the exact ages of people in each interval, meaning we could have, for example, in this category, we could have 0 people who are 11 years old, but then 2 people who are 12 years old, 3 people who's 15 years old, and then 1 person who's 19 years old, for example. Or in this category here, we could have 7 people being 43 and then 1 person being 47. Or we could have 1 person being 50, the rest of them being 42, for example, but here we could have all 6 people being 20, so the smallest value won't be 11 in that case. So because we've got group data, we don't know what the exact ages are of each people in each interval. Question number 16. The diagram shows a quadrilateral ABCD, and we have to think about if AB is parallel to DC. Give a reason for your answer. Well, what I'm looking for here are co-interior angles. So what we're saying over here is if I've got this situation where this side and this side are parallel, and suppose here I've got an angle of X and here I've got an angle of Y, then X plus Y will equal 180 for co-interior angles. So with that being said, if I add the 120 to the 57, I get 177, which does not equal 180. And because of that, we don't have co-interior angles, which means AB is not parallel to CD. Question number 17. Arena sells ice creams. One day she sells 80 ice creams, the next day she sells 108 ice creams. We have to work out the percentage increase in the number of ice creams she sells. So the percentage increase we've got this change 108 subtract 80, and then we divide by the original 80, and then I need to times this by 100 to convert it into a percentage. So we have 28 over 80 times 100. Now, to work this out, well, what I can do is work out this as a percentage by rewriting the denominator over 20. So if I divide 80 by 4, I get 20. 28 divided by 4 is 7. So I get 7 over 20 times 100. So this cancels with this 5 times. 7 times 5 is 35. So I have 35%. Question number 18. Dimitar has 20 sweets. Pip also has 20 sweets. Dimitar gives Pip X sweets. Dimitar then eats 5 of his sweets. Pip then eats half of her sweets. We have to write down expressions for the number of sweets Dimitar and Pip now have. Well, Dimitar, he starts off with 20 and he gives Pip X, so he has X remaining. So this is because he gave Pip X sweets, and then he eats another 5. So if I subtract 5, like so, this is how many sweets he'd have left. So we have here 15 minus X. Now let's take a look at Pip. Pip starts off with 20 and she's gained X sweets. So she's gained X sweets. And then what happens is she eats half of her sweets. So I would have to divide this by 2 because she eats half of. So we divide by 2. So the total number that Pip eats, we've got 20 plus X divided by 2. Question number 19. For part A, we have to factorize y squared plus 27y. Well, what's common for y squared and y? That will just be y. And then, inside this bracket, we've got y plus 27. Then for part B, we have to simplify t cubed squared. Well, we've got a base to a power to another power, so in this situation we would have to multiply the powers. So I've got t to the 3 over 2, so I've got t to the 6. Then for part C, we have to simplify w to the 9 divided by w to the 4. Well, here I've got base to a power divided by base to another power. Same base, we're dividing, so we subtract the powers. So I've got w to the 9 take away 4. So I've got w to the 5. Question number 20. The diagram shows a square with perimeter 16 centimeters. We have to work out the proportion of the area inside the square that's shaded. First of all, we can find the length of the side of the square. We've got the total perimeter being 16. So, if I do 16 divided by 4, because I've got 4 sides which are all equal, I would get 4 centimeters. So, that means in total what we have is 1 centimeter here, and we would also have here 4 centimeters. Now we can find out the heights. So here we have 4 take away 2, which is 2 centimeters, and here we also have 4 centimeters. So here we would have 4 centimeters. So we've got a triangle here, and with that we can find out this region here. So if I call this region 1, if I call this shaded region region 2, and this region here region 3, well then the area of a triangle, we've got 1 times by 4 divided by 2, which is 2 centimeters squared. The area of 3, we've got 4 times by 2 over 2, which is 4 centimeters squared. So that means the area of 2, well, we've got the area of the entire square, we'll write that down. The area of the square is 4 times by 4, which is 16 centimeters squared. So the area of 2 is equal to 16. Subtract the 2, subtract the 4, and it turns out here the area of 2 is equal to 10 centimeters squared. So the proportion that's shaded, then we would have 10 out of the 16, which simplifies to 5/8. Question number 21. David has designed a game. He uses a fair 6-sided dice and a fair 5-sided spinner. The dice is numbered 1 to 6. The spinner is numbered 1 to 5. Each player rolls the dice once and spins the spinner once. The player can win £5 or win £2. If we win £5, that means we would have to roll a 5 and spin a 5. We win £2 if we roll a 1, a spin a 1, or both. David expects 30 people to play his game. Each person will pay David £1 to play the game. We have to work out how much profit Dave can expect to make. Well, let's create a sample space diagram. The possible options we can have from the dice, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That's from the dice. From the spinner, we could either land on a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, or a 5. Now, if we roll a 1, we win £2. So we win £2 if we spin a 1 or roll a 1. Or both. And we win £5 if we roll a 5 and spin a 5. And for the rest of them, we lose. So for the rest of them, we lose. Now, let's see how much we would earn. We've got 30 people. Each pays £1 to enter. So this is what we were told here. Each person will pay David £1. So we will earn £30. And then, if we think about how much we pay out, well, the amount we would pay out, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 multiplied by the £2 plus this £5. And if I work that out, I would have to pay out £25. And therefore my profit is equal to 30 take away 25, which is £5. Next, give a reason why David's actual profit may be different to the profit he expects to make. So, in part A, we calculated a theoretical probability, and in reality more or less people will win, which means the profit may change. Question number 22. Triangle ABC has a perimeter of 20 centimeters, and AB is 7 centimeters and BC is 4 centimeters. By calculation, we have to deduce whether the triangle ABC is a right angle triangle. Well, here we've got the triangle ABC, and note that AC is 9 centimeters because we've got 20. Take away the 7, which is 4, which is 9 centimeters. Now what we can do is use Pythagoras to determine whether this is a right angle triangle. So with Pythagoras, the sum of the squares of the two short sides is equal to the square of the longer side. So I've got 4 squared plus 7 squared, we're testing if that equals 9 squared. 16 plus 49, we're testing if that equals 9 squared. And because 65 doesn't equal 81, we can conclude ABC is not a right angle triangle. Question number 23. One sheet of A3 card has an area of 1/8 meters squared. The card has a mass of 160 grams per meter squared. We have to work out the total mass of 25 sheets of A3 card. So, I've got the mass per meter squared, 160 grams per meter squared. So that means we've got 160 grams per 1 meter squared. And what we can do is find out the mass when we've got an area of 1/8 meters squared. If I divide by 8 on both sides, then 160 divided by 8 is 20. So I've got 20 grams, which is the mass of 1/8 meters squared. So this 20 grams is the mass of one A3 sheet of card. Now we've got 25 sheets in total, so the total mass I would have 20 grams multiplied by 25, because I've got 25 sheets. So it turns out we've got 500 grams. Question number 24. Here are the first 5 terms of a sequence, and what we have to do is work out the next term of this sequence. Well, from here to here, we can see we add 6. Then from here to here, you can see we add 10. Then from here to here, we add 14. And here to here, we add 18. So what do you think we would add next? Well, notice the difference between each of these is adding 4. So we'd have to add on 4 here to get plus 22. So what I do next is add on 22 to get 72. So the next term of this sequence is 72. Next, the nth term of a different sequence is 3n squared minus 10. We have to work out the fifth term. Well, the fifth term is given by n equals 5. So I've got 3 times by 5 squared minus 10. So I get 3 times by 25 minus 10. And it turns out here we get 65. 75 minus 10 is 65. Question number 25, we have to write 504 as the product of its prime factors. So, I start off with the 504. Two numbers which multiply to give 504. We've got 2 and 252. 2 is a prime number, 252 isn't, so we can split up the 252 as 2 times by 126. 126 we can rewrite as 2 times by 63. 63 we can rewrite as 7 times by 9. Now 7's a prime number but 9 isn't, so the 9 we can rewrite as 3 times by 3. And therefore 504 is the same as, well, I've got 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 7. So I've got 2 cubed times 3 squared times 7 as my final answer.